Polytheism, the worship of many gods. Monotheism, the worship of only one. The title of this composition is called Three Gods.
Why I Am Not a Christian by Anna Ritz. Ever ask yourself when Joshua being Joseph became known as Jesus? Ever asked when Jesus became known as Christ? Ever wondered if you are talking about the same man or the same teachings at all? I long ago noticed that the Holy Bible can be read in two basic ways with many variations, either as scripture or as a grimoire, a witch's spell book. Why should that be? I also noticed that there are two different gods in the Bible. One vision of God is good, just, and peace-loving, truthful, and creative and nurturing. There is nothing petty or small-minded or cruel in this true God. The other vision of God is bloodthirsty, vengeful, scheming, egotistical, and none too concerned about truth or justice. How you may ask with me, can this be? Is God just a reflection of all the best and worst that we can be? I also noticed that there's a good bit of corruption and nastiness in the church, which all seem to be more concerned about doctrine and control and bank balances than offering practical help or guidance. Forget spiritual enlightenment. The best of these churches organize to do some good and support their members with coffee, class, brotherhood. A few make Bibles available for free and offer study opportunities. Where are the miracle workers? They are scattered among all the denominations, but so few and so scattered that a less faithful heart will despair. In the churches, as elsewhere, we find bureaucrats and bean counters in charge, while the Son of God and daughters, too, hide themselves from public view, too afraid to fully accept their mission. I know people who have the gift of healing, who, like Jesus, can heal the most grievous illness and injuries with a word or a touch. They walk among us, but they are afraid of being mocked and having no life left to themselves at all. They wonder about their gift and try to deal with it. They sometimes describe it as a burden or cost, because while they are constantly renewed, it takes energy out of them to heal others. And like Jesus, they pled, go now and don't tell anyone. They are overwhelmed by the need for healing at all levels, and I don't blame them. The healers I know would describe themselves as Christians, for lack of a better word, but Christians is a misnomer for the followers of Joshua. Simon Magus was a con man and a magician from the Levant at the time of the apostles. He heard about the miracles performed by Jesus and wanted in on the new con game. It never occurred to him that there was nothing more to it than the latest and most popular conjurer's trick. Peter rebuked him, but Simon Magus, the other Peter, was not deterred. Where there was a shekel to be made, there was a shekel to be made. So the story was twisted and turned, and the other God was given a bully pulpit, and Simon Magus became the only Peter on record who was ever a bishop of Rome. Even our simple baptism with water have been certificated and sold on secret stock markets by these con men with promises made to buyers that they would own our souls. Fat chance of that. But consider the rage of the just. On May 15, 2020, a great and kindly woman will go on trial in Germany. She's a Briton from Australia, but they claim she violated their censorship laws, her sin. Lady Renoff spoke some small truth about the 1945 firebombing of Dresden during a gathering of about 300 mourners. Even her mild comments were considered incitement by the corporatist government of Angela Merkel. Lady Renoff didn't even touch upon the most outrageous truth about the Maccabee and senseless firebombing that killed tens of thousands of Germans and unknown numbers of refugees who had flooded the city trying to escape the advancing Soviet army. Most likely, Lady Renoff doesn't even know the whole truth, so her comments were very mild compared to what I'm going to say. Hear this, Angela. The reason that the Dresden was firebombed was because it contained what was thought to be, at the time, the last handwritten copy of Martin Luther's 95 Theses. Handwritten papers have, at least in the minds of the magicians, powers as spells, as in witches' spells, so the handwritten copy of Luther's complaint against the Roman Catholic Church, which gave rise to the Protestant Reformation, was especially feared and detested by the evildoers who proposed to sell the forgiveness of sin of their own profit. Afterward, of course, it was discovered that several other handwritten copies of the 95 Theses survived in Prussia, Denmark, and California. Perhaps the similar destruction of Paradise, California this summer was more of the same. Surely the church must be purged inside and out, and all the black magic too. Surely from this day I shall never call myself a Christian again. Consider this black arrow straight into the heart of this corruption. Consider this my word and name and breath against it forever. I shall belong to the Lamb, and the Lamb will know his own. But those who have murdered him and dishonored his name and disobeyed his teachings and taught others the same, surely they will be remembered too for the evil they have done in his name, for the blood that cries out against him.
And a quick disclaimer, let me say this first. While you might have to fail a few times throughout the years before you make it work,